Bulletcast for life.
Get up! This is a revolution! This is our time to rise! Look deep within your mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know the name, you know the voice, you know exactly why I'm here. Just in case if you don't, I am a 24-year-old piece of gold, the greatest sports recreational podcast in the world today, and your current reigning, defending Bulletcast champion, just like Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roddy Strong, and Adam Cole, baby. This title reign is hashtag forever undisputed. For life, brother. 137 days as your Le Champion of this show. But you know I never do it alone. He's my tag team partner, the Gemini my J, the Teledemar, the Stevie Ray to my Booker T. Ladies and gentlemen, host of the award-winning Under the Radar. I came back this week. Host of Creative Curveballs and Chair Shots, first ever and 8-time Bulletcast champion, BT, the Canadian Destroyer, Brandon Tanguma. How's it feel talking to the microphone messiah on this fine Thursday afternoon?
You know, Phillip, I'm doing just fine. Under the Radar came back. New Japan's coming back. The world... Baseball still hasn't come back. They're not even close to that. But we're not going to talk about that because this isn't a sports podcast. But we're almost kind of coming back from this coronavirus thing. I'm a jig.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sports podcast. We talk about sports entertainment. We talk about the best in sports entertainment and sports entertainment.
It's pro wrestling.
You did.
Don't call it sports entertainment.
Absolutely. I got a Facebook notification on Facebook, obviously, earlier today, Brandon. Do you know what it was?
I do not, because I do not have your Facebook.
Okay, I'll just make sure you're not trying to hack the boy. It said I graduated high school 6 years ago today, and I'm like, damn, I'm old. Yeah, man. I look at it.
Well, I graduated high school 8 years ago, so
gee,
there you go.
That's almost a decade. I look at it, my hair is falling out. My name's not even spelled right on my damn diploma. But you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Also, last night I was a guest on the Public Enemies podcast. Please go check that out. Shout out to the homies, Graham, Tron, all those boys. We had fun, man. We had fun. Just chopping it up, shooting the ish about the business, the biznaz. We talked AEW and a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about here. But yeah, man, it was fun to just be in a different realm. I like being a guest on these shows, you know. In the Click, Rudo's podcast, Public Enemy Team Talks. If you want me to be a guest on your show, just hit me up. Slide in my DMs. That's all you got to do, and I will be happy to come on your platform and voice my opinions about whatever we're talking about. All right.
I am also available, but nobody cares about me. Everyone just cares about Phillip.
No. God damn it. Brandon and I will be happy to be on your platforms, guys. We're a package deal from now on. I'm not doing any other guest appearances unless Brandon comes with me. That's the deal, man.
And I want a full prorated salary.
Full prorated salary. On the bright side, you know, I've formed a faction with those boys. I mean, you're my tag partner. But, you know, in case I want to go do something else, we formed the New Nation, you know. So, shout out. You could be our Owen Hart, though.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, dude. We have to talk about wrestling. Episode 175, the greatest wrestling match ever. Let's do it. SmackDown recap. Jeffrey Nero Hardy. I'm a big fan of Jeff. He's in my top 10. He's cutting a promo on SmackDown. This is a lot of SmackDown we're going to talk about for the first time in weeks. And he's talking about how, you know, he was outraged at being set up and, you know, the security footage where somebody saw a red-headed being, which being Sheamus, and Jeff chases down Sheamus. He's getting smacked into the plexiglass and gets bro kicked. What did you think of the segment?
The segment was just fine. Jeff Hardy getting a little bit more time to talk. Usually he gets what I call the Jeff Hardy treatment, or the Rey Mysterio treatment, where you speak for like 3 seconds and you get cut off, but he did get to talk a little bit. We thought that this was kind of the way it was leading towards, and this is what we're getting. We're getting Jeff Hardy and Sheamus at Backlash. I cannot wait.
I can't wait either. I mean, these are two former world champions going at it, Brandon.
I know, and if it wasn't for the main event of this pay-per-view, this could have been the best wrestling match ever.
It's a possibility. Sheamus, he you know, people think he's okay, but he's had some sleeper good ones that people don't really talk about, man. Like probably his best match, Hell in the Cell 2012 against Big Show. That was really good. Yeah, and you're thinking Big Show, Sheamus. Go watch it. Trust me. Trust me, go watch it. A lot of good stuff happened on that show. But I guess we're going to move on. Otis, oh yeah. He defeats King Corbin via DQ. I did not like this at all. Why is Corbin losing? He shouldn't be losing. He's the king. That makes no sense.
But Otis is the Money in the Bank title holder.
He's a jester in
really
Corbin's kingdom. He's an absolute jester. I hate it.
But at least he has his peach. That's all that matters.
Shout out, Mandy. Poor Kayla Braxton, though. She got slimed
Fire
on.
TikTok.
Kayla Braxton has a fire TikTok?
Her TikTok's okay. Not as active as Mandy Rose, though.
Hey. My boy Bimbo Jimbo, that's his girl. I can't be talking about his girl's TikTok like that. You feel me?
I like Kayla Braxton. Got introduced to her at a NXT house show and followed her on Instagram ever since.
There you go, man. Yeah. She got slimed on. I don't like this at all, you know? I've seen a lot of innuendos on the internet for what that substance represents, and we're not going to speak about those here. We are a public.
What are you talking about, Philip? It's just like late '90s Nickelodeon. I know you might be a little too young to know this, but Nickelodeon used to use slime all the time.
I know. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Kid Choice Awards. You know, Mike Myers hosting that thing back in the day. Those are my faves. But I'm saying there have been people who have made other analogies to what that substance could be. But we are a publicly traded podcast, so we can't say that.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Philip. I took it at face value that she got slimed.
Lacey Evans defeats Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville, criminally underrated as Brandon. He was the first to notice. Ever since those days in Tough Enough on 2015, he knew. He knew.
If you want to know about the best wrestling women's talent, you come to me, because I was on the Becky Lynch bandwagon. I was on the Sonya Deville bandwagon before it was cool. So I haven't picked my next bandwagon just yet, but when I do, I'll let you guys know.
Man, I mean, I was on that Sasha Banks bandwagon before she was the boss. When she was hanging around with Summer Rae. So come on, I'm kind of woke to who the future women stars are, but Brandon, he's ahead of the game.
If you guys really want to get ahead of it before I even announce it, you can get on the Shotzi Blackheart bandwagon. Town business, baby.
Oh man, absolutely. Shout out Shotzi. Shout out Shotzi. Lacey Evans, yeah, she defeats Sonya Deville when Mandy Rose, the Golden Peach, pops up on. Ooh, they make that a T-shirt. God damn it! Pops up on the screen, and I'm gonna get distracted, and gets socked in the face by the woman's right.
Gotta love the old distraction finish in WWE. They rarely use distraction finishes, so it's nice to see that they pulled it out to this special event like Lacey Evans and Sonya Deville. I thought maybe Sonya and Mandy were done feuding for the moment, but obviously that is not the case.
That is not the case. I don't think they haven't had a match. They haven't had the big blow off match. So no, of course they're not done. I think we can get 3 matches out of this. Yeah. Sonya somehow gets the first win. Mandy barely scrapes by and gets a win, like a roll up victory. And then we need a rubber match, bro.
60-minute Iron Woman match. Better than Sasha Bailey. Better than Shawn and Brett.
Here's what we do. There's not that many matches for Backlash. You throw them on there. They have a match together. Sonya picks up the dub. Mandy wants to redeem herself. All right, do a little TV feud on on SmackDown. Have Sonya run for a few weeks. Mandy gets that win. SummerSlam, baby. Let's have a meaningful women's feud that doesn't involve a championship of any kind on the card, and boom, that's how you do this. It's simple.
Can't wait to see this feud get stretched out for another 2-3 months.
And then
great.
No, but here's what you do: the winner becomes the #1 contender to the SmackDown Women's Championship. That's how you do that.
I mean, if they just kind of sat around and waited, eventually they'll get an opportunity because there's not that many women to choose from.
No, I'm old school. I'm from the days where you earn a title shot. God damn it. Speaking
what
of
did Mark Quinn do to earn the title shot?
He was selected. It's just that simple. See, the thing is, the SmackDown Women's title isn't involved in an open challenge, to where the TNT Championship, it's a network title. It's Cody said he's taken on that role, and it that's just the cards that were dealt. He was selected by the higher ups. Like, let's give him a shot. Why not? It's kind of like back in the day when you picked a number for the Royal Rumble, and the thing was rolling around. They reached in, they selected a ball. Mark Quinn. All right, cool. You're next. It's just how it is.
Seems legit.
All right, Sasha Banks and DaBailey, as she's known as on the Public Enemy podcast, they defeat Twisted Bliss. We have new women's tag team champions. Shout out, Sasha. Shout out, baby girl. 7 of the champions in WWE are African Americans, so I gotta give a big fist up to that for sure. A Black Power ranking coming this week for that, absolutely. But what are your shots on Blueface Banks and DaBailey becoming the women's tag champs yet again?
Not really sure on why they just did this out of nowhere. I thought Bliss Cross Applesauce was having an okay feud with the Iconics, and they were definitely building towards that. And then just out of nowhere, Sasha Banks and DaBailey was just listening to DaBaby on the way before we did the podcast. So shout out.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like DaBaby copied DaBailey.
Exactly.
Exactly. But, now we got a triple threat match. The SmackDown Women's title isn't being defended on the show. We'll talk more about it when we get to the preview of Backlash, but maybe it's just that they're just trying to wedge Banks and Bayley, and they were telling the story of Banks and Bayley maybe breaking up, and then now they won the titles, now they're besties again. So I guess we got to hold that story for now.
Yeah, this story started like February of 2018. Here we are 2 years later. What are we doing? Brandon, what's your favorite DaBaby song?
Well, I was listening to Bop, which is, the big song that everyone knows. But, I do like the intro track on his, not this album that he just released a couple of weeks ago, but his last album, 2 albums ago.
Would you say that Bop is a bop? Would you say that?
It cool.
It cool.
Fire music video, by the way, with the Jabberwockies.
Oh, there you go. I'm a fan of Yes Indeed because, it has Drake on there. He's a hometown native of the 6, I think my favorite line is, it's so simple, but he's like, wah, I'm the baby. I'm like, ha, that's funny. I like that.
Because babies cry.
Exactly. Simple stuff works with me, guys. It really does. I know I host a podcast called Complex Conversations, but little simple stuff, I'm like, I like that. Then I hit your bandwagon to somebody. That's just how it works. All right, the Nature Boy. We've taken a break from The Undertaker Last Ride. It wasn't on for the past couple weeks. It returns this Sunday after the greatest wrestling match ever from Backlash. WWE 24 for Ric Flair. It's going over the 3-day weekend of his retirement in 2008. His Hall of Fame induction on Saturday. His WrestleMania 24 match with Shawn Michaels on Sunday. And then the Monday, the retirement speech, which we are going to really go in depth about a little bit later. It is our promo pick of the week, spoiler alert. And it's just that whole weekend, man. So, Brandon, what was your takeaway from this WWE 24 from Nate?
Well, I definitely did watch this WWE 24 on Ric Flair.
That's
and I
code
thought it was,
for he didn't, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought, whoa. Kayfabe. I thought it was fantastic. Great storytelling. Great emotion. WWE does great work. If only the people who do these network specials could get a job with WWE on the regular television and tell great stories and video packages and stuff like that, then maybe WWE could be a whole lot better. But fantastic for a documentary that I definitely did watch.
You see, I'm sorry, Brandon. I'm the Mike Messiah. I'm a straight shooter now. I apologize. The Podfather, he kept it kayfabe, but he's dead now. It's all about evolution, reinvention, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this was fun. I really did enjoy, seeing the backstage stuff from that time period, that era. And there's an extra from the 24 where Triple H is talking about how, Vince was like, how long is he going to go? Because, Hall of Fame speeches in the last couple of years have gone pretty long. And this was at the time where it just showed on the USA Network and it was about an hour. But Ric Flair's speech was like an hour and 30 minutes. So Hunter's talking about how he had to keep going up and telling Flair, like, hey, you had a great career. You're one of the greatest of all time, but, it's time to wrap it up. So I thought that was funny. Vince was like, God damn it, he's still in the 70s, not even in the 80s yet. Time to wrap it up. That's funny. But all in all, I mean, it's probably the greatest retirement in the history of the business, and there have been a lot of wrestling retirements. Hell, I mean, Terry Funk is responsible for like 100 of them. But seriously, it's probably the best one. I mean, nobody's had a better send-off. Shawn's wasn't that good. Undertaker's eventually, when it does happen, I don't think it will be at this level. But Rick, he had a great retirement, and then he went to TNA.
So you agree with me on my assessment of this documentary that I definitely did watch?
Yes, I did.
Exactly. Thank you.
All right. Outside of the ring, big match. John Cena donates to another charity. He donates $1 million to the Black Lives Matter Foundation. Shout out, John. Shout out, John, for the cause. I appreciate that, man. Shout
out, John Cena. Who would have thought that the BTS Army and John Cena would be collabing to donate $1 million to Black Lives Matter?
Who knew?
What kind of times are we living in, Phillip?
I don't know, man. These are uncertain times, as WWE keeps telling us, though. You know what, dude? I was watching Raw Talk before we started this, and on there, they'll announce the protests that are going on in the country, but they won't announce the pandemic that's going on in the world. That's WWE logic for you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
I can't even think of a WWE reason why they would do that.
It's because it's WWE. All right, we got to talk about my boy HB Schnizzle, the Heartbreak Kid, a.k.a. HBLMK. So, this has been reported. There was a producer backstage, I think it was at In Your House, the takeover last weekend, and somebody was like, oh, I really don't see what the big deal is, why everybody's upset. I think everybody gets treated pretty fairly. And HBK basically went off on dude, was like, hey, man, there's real ish going on in the world. Like, what are you talking about? Obviously, people who are darker skinned don't get treated fairly. Are you an idiot? And then I heard he super kicked him like Stan. That part's not true. But all in all, shout out to HBK standing up for the community, standing up for my people, man. I appreciate that.
Shout out Shawn Michaels. If you saw the headline of Shawn Michaels altercation backstage, your mind would have raced, and if this was 20 plus years ago, if this was the 90s, he would have stormed out and took his ball and went home. But this is the best backstage altercation Shawn Michaels has ever had.
Besides super kicking Stan.
There's been a bunch of them.
Besides super kicking Stan.
Sure, after that.
Yes, of course. All right, I heard about this like 2 weeks ago, and I forgot to mention it. Tony Khan bans Hulk Hogan and Jim Cornette from AEW events. I mean, I don't know why you.
And Linda Hogan.
Really?
Because
what did
she was just like that producer that said, "Oh, all these Afro-Americans looting and destroying their communities.
Mike,
blah blah blah. All lives matter."
I did hear something about that. Yeah. I mean, Hogan, like we don't need the rambling racist there. Plus, I'm sure he doesn't want to go to AEW. And Jim Cornette buries everybody that works for the damn company, so I'm sure he doesn't want to go there either. But, shout out TK for the people. And Jericho's been getting a lot of flack. I know last night on the pod, the boys, they were just burying Jericho when he hit that All Lives Matter thing. And they had one of the best lines I've ever heard. My boy Graham was like, Jericho writes all these best-selling books but can't read the room. I was like, damn. That's deep. You know what I'm saying? I saw somebody on Twitter was like, oh, he's Canadian, he doesn't understand. I'm like, what are you talking about? He doesn't understand. It's simple. Now look, there are people who will say all lives matter just to shut up the Black Lives Matter conversation and movement, or they just want to argue. But then I do believe there are those people who are truly about everybody, everybody's life matters. That's why they throw the all lives matter up there. I do believe there are those people. I think that's what Jericho meant by it. But, like I said, all lives can't matter until black lives do, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Go check out Titus O'Neil's speech in front of the Tampa Bay community. It was on Raw Talk, and he basically hit the all lives matter, black lives matter. That shouldn't even be an argument. Human rights matter. That's what the issue is here. And I was like, okay, that's dope. I respect what Big Titus was doing. You have any more thoughts on the whole Black Lives Matter movement, Brandon, and what's been going on?
We touched on it, I think, last week, but I kind of said my piece, and just because maybe everything isn't as hot as it was last week doesn't mean that the issues still don't stand and they still don't matter.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you for saying that, buddy. All right, Mr. Wrestling number 2, Johnny Walker, has died at the age of 85. I knew there were more than one Mr. Wrestling. I think Mr. Wrestling number 4 wrestled in the APW garage quite a few times. I remember I saw him like 3 or 4 times. But did you have any memories, or did you even know who Mr. Wrestling number 2 was?
I did know who Mr. Wrestling 2 is, a pretty big deal back in the day. A journeyman wrestler who was kind of down on his luck, like in the third, and he was like in his 30s, not in the 30s. He, put on the mask, became Mr. Wrestling 2, and became this big figure. I can't wait for some podcasts to come out where they're definitely going to talk about his life so I can learn more. I've always kind of, in passing, they've talked about him, and I've heard some stuff about how big of a deal he was, but I never really sought out to look and find his stuff. So if you guys are looking for anything during this quarantine, I would believe there's stuff on the network of Mr. Wrestling 2, so definitely go and check some of his stuff out.
Yeah, so I mean, he debuted in 1955, retires in 2007. That's 52 years, bro. That's crazy. And he was born in 34, so if you do that math, he was 73 when he retired. He died at the age of 85. You look at his Wikipedia here. Championship Wrestling from Florida, Georgia Championship Wrestling in the 70s and 80s. Big time television champion, NWA Florida Heavyweight Champion, NWA Florida Tag Team Champion, with Boris Malenko, who's the father of Dean Malenko. So he had a pretty notable career once he, like Brandon just said, he became Mr. Wrestling, NWA South Heavyweight Champion, NWA Alabama Heavyweight Champion. That just shows you how deep the territories were. Deep South Heavyweight Champion, Hawaii Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champion with Mr. Wrestling number 3. Wow. And guess who Mr. Wrestling number 3 was, Brandon?
Stu Hart.
No, he works for WWE right now. He's a former Ring of Honor champion. He's a former
Dana Bryan.
Former ECW and NWA champion.
R-Truth.
Steve Corino.
Oh, so close.
So close, but no cigar. I'll read this last one because this is actually cool. Oh wait, no, he'll actually I'll read 2 more. NWA Georgia Tag Team Champion with Bob Orton Jr. Mr. Wrestling number 1 and Tony Atlas. Bob Orton, he had a son that would grow up to be one of the greatest ever. I think he's gonna have the greatest wrestling match ever this weekend, right? Bob Orton Jr.'s son.
Of course, I just can't wait for that match.
Absolutely,
a barn burner.
And then the NWA Macon Georgia Tag Team Championships 3 times. Twice with Mr. Wrestling number 1, and once with Jerry the King Lawler. Alright. And also he was tag champs with Magnum TA. R.I.P. to Johnny Walker, man. Brandon, you're the New Japan guy. It's back. It's coming back, baby. What's going on with it? Tell us the deets.
Well, they held a press conference Monday night. I watched it, and they announced that New Japan, yes, is coming back. I erroneously said I got the dates right, but I got the days of the week wrong on Under the Radar. If you want to go check it out, you're more than welcome to. But anyways, New Japan will be coming back on June 15th. That is a Monday, and they will be having a mystery card, the New Japan Together project, where they're not going to announce any of the matches until the show starts. And then the New Japan Cup is going to start up the next day with some matches. Don't have the entire bracket in front of me, but the winner will get a chance at both Naito's IC and heavyweight title, and the finals of the New Japan Cup, followed by the Dominion show in Osaka, Joe, will be the first major wrestling show with fans, as they will hold fans for a third of the capacity of the building. So big news coming out of New Japan. Wow,
I mean, there we go. So the first 4 days are without fans. That's what I've been hearing. Cool, man. It's all right. I'm interested to see what Zack Sabre Jr. is going to do because he gave us the greatest drop in podcast history, greatest drop in audio history. Is my boy Tomohiro Ishii? Is he in this thing?
Our boy Tomohiro Ishii.
Oh, he's our boy.
Is in this thing. If you listen to Under the Radar, I have a super duper man crush on Ishii, and Ishii should be IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Just saying.
You're out here having man crushes, man. I mean, it's 2020. You can do whatever you want. Do whatever you want.
I'm crushing hard on my boy Ishii.
All right. Is my homie Kenta in this thing?
I do not think Kenta is in this. This is a major Japanese tournament, as you'd expect, with all the travel restrictions. Zack Sabre Jr., off the top of my head, is really the only Gaijin that is in the New Japan Cup. But all the big names you would think, like Kota Ibushi and Kazuchika Okada and Tanahashi is in there. So I would assume probably a big name will win the New Japan Cup just to set up the match at Dominion with Naito.
All right, look, if my boy Ishii don't win this, what are we doing? What are we doing with the guy? He's basically the Japanese Taz. Yeah. That's basically where I'm at.
And Ishii's like in his mid-40s, and I didn't really realize this until last year, and he's still crushing it.
Man, I'm telling you. He's Zack Sabre Jr., he's the only guy Kakojin in this thing, you said?
Gaijin, but yes.
I mean, Guy Kakojin for all the really smart marks. And I heard Dave Meltzer said marks is, like, as offensive as the N-word. Are you stupid?
I didn't hear this, so I can't defend my boy on this one.
Nah, are you an effing...
And even if he did say it, I ain't going to defend that.
Are you an effing idiot? Really? You've been drinking that Omega juice too hard or something. Been drinking all that Japan juice too hard. Like, what are you talking about? I'm sorry. Dave Meltzer makes me upset, ladies and gentlemen. But I did stand next to him at a Denny's once with Brandon. These are facts.
I wrote down on the same piece of paper and used the same pen as Dave Meltzer as we try to wait in line at a Denny's that was, like Osaka Joe Hall will be, a third full, but yet no service was given to us.
Yeah, and then he ripped the paper off the clipboard and stole it, and he hung it up in his room next to his Kobe poster.
I actually put it underneath my pillow, so I sleep with it every night.
Okay, that's weird. This day in wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, the Road Warriors, they make their debut with Georgia Championship Wrestling in 1983. WWF Japan, 1985. The Incredible Hulk Hogan defeats Tatsumi Fujinami. Hogan joins WCW on this day in 1994. WCW Great American Bash, 2000. Jeff Jarrett walks out with the World Heavyweight Championship. Raw 2001, Kurt Angle defeats Chris Benoit defeats Kurt Angle in a steel cage match. AJ Styles wins the NWA title in 2002. Shout out to my boy Rob Van Dam. ECW One Night Stand 2006 defeats John Cena for the WWE title. Unfortunately, we lost the American Dream 5 years ago today. I remember that day like it was yesterday, man. Me and my homie Damon are at my house. And we're just chilling and playing the game, and then I read Dusty died, and I was like, oh my god, And then I immediately hopped on YouTube, watched the Hard Times promo, watched some of his matches, man. Just truly, honestly, honest to God, one of the best that has ever done this. And look at what his sons have done. Look at the legacy that they've left and are still paving. Goldust, one of the greatest characters in the history of the business, and he's turned back the clock with the work he's doing in AEW right now. And then Cody, he's become basically the leader of the quote-unquote revolution, the man that's at the forefront. We know there are other people involved. We know Tony Khan's the owner of AEW, but when we think about this stuff, a lot of people just kind of see Cody in the forefront of it, and he's done a great job, and I think the American Nightmare is making the American Dream very proud. You have any thoughts on that, Brandon?
Do you think if Dusty didn't die, if AEW would be a thing, and if it was still a thing, do you think Dusty would be at AEW right now?
Oh, hands down, dude. I mean, it's TNT, it's Turner, it's Time Warner. Yeah, he'd be there, dude. Like Shivani's there, and Jim Ross, and just that WCW feel. He would be there for sure, hands down. I think he would have left NXT.
He did love his NXT children.
Kids, he did.
But Dusty was not treated as well as he should have been by WWE. Ever since he gave Stephanie McMahon the hand, it just wasn't the same ever since.
That's true. He did wear polka dots before we got to WWE, though. Let's put that out there. People don't know that. Yeah. Anyway, there was a SmackDown Live on this day in 2009, and Brandon, do you know what happened?
What happened?
Otis and Tucker beat AJ Kirsch and Dave Dutra for the Yolo County Tag Team Championships.
And now those YOLO County titles are forever immortalized on an action figure.
Absolutely. Hell of a gimmick, though, still. I mean, I got to interview them, was it like, I don't know, I think it was about like a few weeks after that, like 2 weeks after that. And they really capitalized on it, man. Like, AJ legit made cardboard titles and was shipping them not just all throughout the country, but like he shipped quite a few to Japan, I know. And like, just hell of a gimmick to sell cardboard championships.
If you got it, make some money off of it. Make your money, boo-boo, as you would say.
Make your money, boo-boo. All right, former United States champion Magnum TA is 62 years old today. And holy Sheeta, Hikaru Shida is 32 years old. Congratulations, making it another year to the AEW Women's Champion. Oh my God! As the thirst traps pop up on the Instagram, let me go to the fan mail though, because that's what we're really here for. All right, are we ready for this, man?
Stay ready, so we don't got to get ready.
Absolutely. I'm just kind of trying to go through the whole thing here to make sure I don't miss any. All right, what do we have here?
Well, I know Mr. X sent us a late-minute question last week that didn't get on the podcast, so maybe you should ask his question first, since it might be a little time-dated. Might be a little outdated. Unless you deleted it already.
No, it's on Instagram, so I'll just read all the ones he sent me since. All right, Jack of all trades. Is it me, or does Moxley's run not feel as big as the TNT title was, since the TNT title was introduced? I mean, yeah. How do you feel about that, Brandon? Do you not feel Mox is big?
I feel it's kind of hard to judge how well a champion is doing right now, especially since there is no fans. I think the match he had with Brody Lee was good, but we're going to talk about what he did this week, and I really thoroughly enjoyed the promo he cut on this week's Dynamite. But I mean, overall, I think it's just really hard to kind of gauge what success is with these champions at the moment. The ratings aren't going down. They're still consistently beating NXT on a weekly basis. So I still would say that his title reign is a minor success, but I'm not going to say he's hitting out of the park and, doing great things with it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Would you say it's adjacent to the WWE title run?
Maybe, because I think even when he was a WWE champion, I think he was getting pushed pretty consistently, and he was doing some good things, not great things, not terrible things. So I think that is an apropos comparison, but I think the best stuff he's done in AEW is still better than what he did in WWE.
Wow, how apropos of you to use the word apropos. I mean, then of course he did the Austin podcast, and it all went downhill from there.
Because he had some weird champion complex where he was trying not to break kayfabe or something like that, and he felt threatened by Stone Cold.
I mean, yeah, this is a Texas rattlesnake. I'd feel threatened too. All right, Robert Walker, how did you guys come up with your monikers and why? Well, Brandon, Canadian Destroyer. I remember this is when Bayley was still hot and she wasn't getting boring. She was in I think, was this the Bayley This Is My Life segment? Was that it? Where Canada just absolutely booed her, and then Brandon on the show just buried Canada, and then that's just how the Canadian Destroyer was born. It's just that simple.
I don't think it was the This Is Your Life segment, because This Is Your Life segment, nobody said anything during that segment.
That's true. Well, yeah, that's how...
And it wasn't Bayley's fault, as Vince said.
Yeah. Well, that's how Brandon got his, and then BT, I just call him BT because Brandon Tanguma, it's that simple. Podfather, Godfather, Podfather, I'm going to do a podcast, that's really how that happened. And then I got rid of it because, honestly, it's time to move on. The Microphone Messiah, I was doing a radio project last year for a radio class, and in the midst of it, I just said that, and I'm like, I kind of like that, and then I never really used it again. And then, Seth becomes the Monday Night Messiah, and that's pretty hot right now. So I'm like, okay, that's what we're going to roll with, That's basically how that happened. Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Brandon?
My other moniker, if you guys know me personally, people might call me Cheese, which I don't think I've ever really talked about on this podcast before because, I'm such a funny guy that back in like sixth grade, for some godly reason, I said cheese a lot for one day. And so then everyone called me Cheese. And then here we are. So if you see me on the Twitter and I retweet something or whatever, and there's a little cheese icon next to my name, that's why.
Brandon the Big Cheese Tanguma. Gotta love it.
No, it's just cheese,
Oh, it's
not
just
the big
cheese.
cheese.
BCT, baby.
Not to be confused with cheese from Foster's Imaginary House or whatever that thing is
Oh,
called.
Foster's House of Imaginary Friends?
With that cheese came out after me, so it was basically loosely based on my life, so I'm just saying.
Oh, I think they owe you some royalties, my guy. Alfie Lewis, Cajun Mox's brawl was kind of weak. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll talk about that once we get to Dynamite. Jack of all trades. Hey guys, love the bonus episode. So, what are your top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time, and can we get a bonus episode for that? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. We'll expect one next week. There we go. Moving on. Dan, I'm sorry to say this, but Dominic doesn't stand a chance against the Monday Night Messiah. He's losing an eye, just like his old man. That's funny.
At first, I thought he was talking about my lovely and esteemed co-host, Dominic from Curveballs and Chair Shots, and I thought we were going to set up a match between Dominic and the Microphone Messiah.
Oh, I thought that was about to happen, too. I didn't know what was going on. I'm scared. Very scared. Alfie Lewis, what's the craziest wrestling move you've ever tried while wrestling your friends or brother or family or whatever? Brandon? What's the craziest wrestling move you've ever tried?
I don't know if I can really say craziest wrestling move I've ever tried, but I can tell 2 times where I've almost killed either myself or my brother. So there was one time where I tried to recreate the legendary SummerSlam commercial where Brock Lesnar F5's a shark. I went to F5 my brother, and he came dangerously close from hitting his head on the corner of a table. And that was not fun. But then the other time was a little more recently when me and my brother were trying to recreate the match WrestleMania 29. I was The Rock, and I was trying to take the 5 moves of doom, and I took a back bump, and I hit my head up against the nightstand where the TV was on, and that hurt. So, one concussion and 1 near concussion while trying to wrestle.
How recent?
Don't try this at home, kids.
How recently was that, dude? He's like, it was
like 5 years ago.
Oh, I thought you were about to say
5-6 years ago.
About to say it was like it was yesterday. Okay, I have two. So one, my cousin DJ and I, shout out Hunter. So we're wrestling. Oh my god, this is like 10 years ago. Yeah, I'm trying to Batista bomb him, so I pick him up, right, and I can't really hold his weight, and then we fall back into the closet, and he like slices his leg. It's not that bad of a cut. It's just like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. And then there's another time. So I'm like watching an AJ Styles match, and this is like 2 years after this, and I saw AJ do the Pele kick. I'm like, bro, stay right there. I had him stand on the bed. I had him hold a pillow to his head, and I go for it. I felt my foot hit the pillow, so I think I did it, but I damn near almost broke my neck in the process. And I'm like, okay, we're never doing this again. Yeah.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Don't try. And there's a time I legit got super kicked in the face while wrestling. I was like 11 years old and my teeth clattered. That was fun. I need to have Damon on the show so we could talk about that incident. Those were good times. Was that the end of the email thread? I think it is. All right, now we're going to go over to the Instagram, the Instaham. Got some fan mails here. All right, Muggsy. He's a fan of the show. I met him at the gas station, so shout out to the homie.
Muggsy Bogues?
No, just Muggsy, dude.
Do you even know who Muggsy Bogues is, Phillip?
Who is that? Tell me now.
He's like the short guy. If you've seen Space Jam, he's a little guy.
Oh,
famous basketball player.
Okay. Oh, I know what you're talking about. He's like 5'3" or 5'4", right? Something like that.
Yes, and he was crossing everyone up and doing fantastic things.
You see, you don't got to be 6'9" to play basketball in the NBA, ladies and gentlemen. You don't. He was doing it for all the short men. Brandon, give it a shot. No? You're not going to?
I mean, basketball is not really my thing, but
Oh, what?
I'm a hell of a facilitating point guard. I'm more of a passer and defender than a shooter.
What's your game, Brennan? What's the best sport you're good at, man? What is it? What's the sport you're the best at?
It would probably be baseball, but now in my older years, I'd probably have to move on over to slow pitch softball.
Okay. Or you can just take up golf.
I do play golf.
Oh.
I'm a power hitter, so I can drive the hell out of it. But then the closer I get to that hole, the worse my game gets.
Oh.
Use that as a clip.
I'm sorry. All right, Muggsy. What do you think of Ricochet? Literally one of the best wrestlers I have ever seen in WWE. He's a wasted talent among other greats. I like Ricochet. He's good. He had a little feud with the Phenomenal One, and I don't know where the hell. Yeah, he and Cedric started a tag team, and then where'd they go? Are they quarantining themselves? That might be what's happening. I don't know.
I don't know, but they started the feud with Brandon Vink and whoever the hell with MVP's little group there. They lose to them, and then we never see them again.
Absolutely. Alright, all the rest of these are from In Brightest Day X, so here we go. If we're talking about Taker's final match here, I think it should be take place at Survivor Series. This year, it's his 30th anniversary, where it all began. That does make sense. You know, if he wants to hang it up. Maybe we'll have fans in attendance by then. Brandon?
I think if you're going to do Undertaker's last match, you got to do it at WrestleMania. You give him the Ric Flair treatment. You have him go in the Hall of Fame that day. I mean, if he wants to, I know he's kind of breaking character a little bit more, so he could do that, have the match, and then retire.
That's very possible.
Because let's be honest, a lot of the hardcores will know that Undertaker started at Survivor Series, but all the casuals and everyone else really relates WrestleMania to the Undertaker.
He retires at In Your House Revenge of the Taker too.
In an Inferno match. An Inferno Buried Alive match.
Absolutely. An Inferno Buried Alive casket match. There we go. Throw it all in there.
Inside Hell in a Cell.
Inside Hell in a Cell. God, a book in the damn territory. I love it. Alright, overall, TakeOver was good. Not their strongest outing. Liked Gargano and Lee. Backlash Brawl could have gone on longer. Love the intensity of Cross. The woman had the match of the night, and congrats to Io. 1 for winning the title, and 2 for not killing Rhea with that moonsault. If you want to hear our thoughts about TakeOver in your house, check out a recap in the Bulletcast archive. Alright, now these are from today. If I hear the greatest wrestling match ever one more time to describe Orton and Edge, I'm going to punch someone in the head. Greatest wrestling match ever for Randy Orton and Edge. You heard it one more time if you listen to this, man. Punch somebody.
And definitely don't listen to the preview, because I'm definitely going to hammer that.
Oh.
Over and over and over again.
Hammer it. Hammer it so hard. Oh, jeez.
Hammer the over, everyone. That's how you always win. You got to hammer the over for you bettors out there, since sports is coming back.
Is there a reason that DeBailey and Blueface Banks needed to win? He didn't really put it like that. I just said that. Needed to win the titles, or am I missing something? Didn't Paige say they were overpushed? Bailey and Sasha? I heard she said this, but she didn't say anything.
I did hear something like that. I mean, the women's tag team division is not very deep. I feel as though they are going to have a tag team match on NXT. Shout out to Shotzi Blackheart. Get on the bandwagon while you can, while there's room. And Tegan Nox, they're going to have a title match, whoever the champion is, next week. So at least they're going that route with some NXT talent, because I feel as though NXT, even though they never have the women's tag titles on their show, they have the deepest tag team division that you can pull from.
That's very true. Let's be honest, these women tag titles aren't working. They're not working now. They didn't work when they had them in the 80s, because they don't want to acknowledge that at all. Let's just get rid of them. I'm sorry. If we're talking about hopping on female bandwagons, hop on Deonna Purrazzo's. I'm a fan of the Virtuosa. She had a birthday yesterday. Happy 26, baby girl. Shout out. All right. The group that Phantasma is leading is giving off vibes of Lucha Dark Order. Bruh, Phantasma is the ish. Like, DJZ is meaningful now. He's a heavy, or not a heavy, but a bump guy now. He's gonna be a handler. I love it. what's his name now? Santana Escobar? Fire! Absolute fire!
I am intrigued to see where they go with this luchador. Well, I guess they're not luchadors anymore. They're still luchadors, even though they don't have the mask on. I'm intrigued to see what they do, having a main kind of the undisputed era in the cruiserweight division. I'm intrigued to see what they do there, and hopefully with the cruiserweight division that wasn't really pushed a whole lot in NXT. Now that they gave this little group to Phantasma, that they can actually do something with it.
Wow, I guess so. Oh, this last one is a weird question. How weird would it be if they...
I love weird questions.
Oh. How weird would it be if they started an angle where Otis turns out to be Macho Man's illegitimate son? Sort of go back on a throwback angle in WCW where the Giant was supposed to be Andre the Giant's illegitimate son. I
thought Jay Lethal was Macho Man's illegitimate son.
I mean, Otis could be Macho Man's son if that Stephanie rumor's true. Hey! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about Monday Night Raw. Charlotte, Flair, and Asuka defeat the Iconics and DeBailey and Blueface Banks in a non-title match. Because everybody comes out there and talks and they turn it into a match.
Yes.
Yes.
If you also want to go the Blueface, right, you could go Blueface Bailey because he says Blueface Baby.
Blueface,
Just throwing it out
baby!
there. This, we can have our own gimmick now.
Brandon Face, baby! No, you're not going to do
Don't
it.
ever say that. No.
Really? No? My homeboy Zach is like, Phil Face, baby, and I'm like, Zach Face, baby. I thought we could do... Oh, so we're not going to do that together? Alright, sorry. Carry on.
Anyways, this was the Charlotte show on Raw. I mean, the match itself, you kind of knew this was going to happen with Charlotte and Asuka being the two champions. They kind of have to get the win here, but then that also devalues the tag team division, which you would think they would have an advantage over the champions that don't like each other and have been combined to be a tag team. But anyways, I mean, the match was all right, and we got a lot more Charlotte on the show to cover.
Absolutely. Hey, man, I said it on the pod last night. I'm going to say it today. I want Charlotte to hit the Flair record. Not that 16 title BS. I want that 21-22 title reign. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. No?
No.
I did see something on Twitter where somebody said, can Andrade just get Charlotte pregnant so she's off TV for 9 months? And I'm like, oh!
If she gets pregnant, it would be longer than 9 months. So it's actually, it'd work out better for that person.
He's gonna hit that Seth Rollins face that Seth hit Becky with. No.
Let's move on.
No, we're moving on. Okay.
Let's get away from that.
Okay. All right. Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo defeat Austin Theory and not Bloody Murphy. Jesus, Buddy Murphy. And then
Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy.
Absolutely. And then there's a whole Rey Mysterio update that ties into this. What did you think of all that, man?
It was fine. Aleister Black still getting a push, which I always like to see. Rey Mysterio, the promo itself was fine. It was kind of a little bit more of the same of what they did last week. So kind of spinning their wheels here, just kind of waiting for Mysterio to come back. I don't know how long they're going to hold out on this, but I mean, it's something. Seth Rollins' character, I mean, the jury's still out on him with me. I don't know if I like it or I hate it. It's just kind of there.
I enjoy the Monday Night Messiah. He's trying to lead us to better ourselves. Brandon, if you want to better yourself, you got to follow the Messiah.
I thought if I wanted to better myself, I have to take one of those like fit teas on Instagram.
No. Don't be a part of that cult. Come join this other cult.
Okay.
The Peep Show. Christian. Put him in the damn Hall of Fame. He had a great career. He has his best friend, WWE Hall of Famer, the Rated R Superstar Edge, on his show to talk about the greatest wrestling match ever between him and Randy Orton this Sunday. What are your thoughts, man?
I thought it was good. I didn't exactly know where they were going with it. I mean, I could kind of see that Christian was trying to pull that out of Edge, but I felt as though for like the go home segment of this feud, I thought it could have been a little bit better. Could have, if you're gonna get to the greatest wrestling match of all time, it should have the greatest go home angle of all time.
That's possible. That's true, dude. It's true. Speaking of angles, this was probably the I don't know, dude. The Decathlon, Viking Raider, War Raider, whatever the hell their name is, and Street Profits. They tie. Dude, look, they've ruined the Street Profits with this. Street Profits, Dawkins and Ford, they're still great. They're still good, man. But being involved with these punk ass Vikings has just ruined all credibility for these guys. Now, I mean, they're holding on to a shred of it. Let me rephrase that. They have a shred of credibility left. Stop associating with these guys, and just do something better. I know we're in the pandemic era. I know it's hard out here. It's hard out here for a lot of us. But you can't be doing this, man. Can't be ruining a damn good tag team with decathlons and drinking goat milk and having sword fights with Vikings. It's 2020. Vikings don't even exist. God.
I guess this is a bad time for me to say that I thought this was the best of the 4 little vignette things that they did. I know it's not saying a lot, but I kind of enjoyed it. Kind of, I'm not going to say, I thought it was the greatest thing of all time. It wasn't the best vignette of all time. But
this wasn't the greatest decathlon ever?
I mean, it might be the greatest decathlon I've ever seen in WWE history.
Okay. Well, Andrade defeats Kevin Owens and Angel Garza to become the number 1 contender for the United States Championship. It happened. Nobody got hurt. That's all we can ask for. Time to move on. Bobby Lashley and MVP defeat the Viking War Raider Experience. Thank God for that. Thank God. No? Nothing?
Nobody got hurt. That's all we can ask for.
Exactly. Charlotte Flair defeats Asuka. You're damn right Charlotte did. She's from the Queen City, baby. You're damn right she can defeat Asuka. It's time for Charlotte to win her 11th World Championship.
Even more distraction finishes. Love to see it. And they didn't even... I don't even know if they acknowledged the fact that Charlotte lost her match at NXT TakeOver. I know this was probably filmed beforehand, but you got to at least talk about it a little bit.
No, you can't talk about something that hadn't happened yet, Brandon. Doesn't make any sense. But we can talk about the greatest wrestling match ever before it happens because we know it's going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. You understand?
Sorry, Mr. X. He's probably punched like 10 holes in his wall by now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. Still do graphics for us, though, bro. Please, we love you, man. We love your work. You do great. You do good-ish. With that being said, we got to move on to AEW Dynamite. So this is the debut of FTR, Forever the Revival, F the Revival, For the Revolution, Fear the Revolt, whatever their name is. Scott Dawson, who is now Cash Wheeler, looking at not Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood, looking kind of chubs. I know I'm a hefty boy, but my man, he really said we're not body guys.
He's not hefty. He's thick.
He's husky. He might be as husky as Harris once was. He said we're not body guys. We're just good wrestlers. That's what he said. And they go up against the Butcher, the Blade, no Bunny, because now they've become Joe Bear City. That's what these guys are. And I liked them when they first debuted, mainly because Allie was there and she was in a bunny suit, and thoughts.
I thought this was a really good match, good way to introduce FTR. Young Bucks come out. Once again, they tease it. They don't go all the way with it, which I hope they really save this match for later on down the line. Hopefully it's in front of crowds, but who knows how long that'll take. But I feel as though the right track is to get FTR, get the titles on them before the Young Bucks get the titles, and that's how they face off.
Absolutely. In front of people. Let's drive-in, no, not in the movies. What is it? Drive-in wrestling. Let's make it happen, guys. Brandon's a visionary. Let's do it. I'm telling you. Before we get to this next match, I want to talk about this tag team name for Jimmy Jacobs and Superbad Kip Sabian, the Superbad Death Squad. What the hell? What terrible mid-2000s WWE PG, not even PG, What terrible attitude era, wall or hell or bag did they pull that out of? I mean, what? What? Super bad Death Squad? That's outrageous.
I was thinking more WCW TNA.
Okay,
name generator.
Yeah, that might be good. This is like WCW Slamboree 2000. That's where the hell this came from. Jesus Christ, man. Like, what? I know they can't have their Triangle of Death or whatever Death Triangle right now. But
Triangola de la Muerte.
or can we just call them Lucha Pac? Like my homie Graham said on the Public Enemies pod last night. Lucha Pac. Lucha Pac. I'll pop for Lucha Pac. But yeah, that's stupid. That name is stupid. I'm sorry. I apologize. I had to get that off my chest.
Feel better now?
That might be worse than the Katie Vick on a pole match. Oh, hey-o. Alright, so Nyla Rose and Superbad. Penelope Ford, who was accompanied by Superbad. Kip Sabian. She defeats Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander, and oh my god. Let's talk about Chris Statlander. MJF took to Twitter and was like, the alien chick is the drizzling, you know what? And he is right. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I don't approve. She was trained by Kurt Hawkins. Hawkins is a good worker. And he even told her before she started, having matches, like, you sure about this alien thing? She's like, yeah. And look where we are now. I'm going to have to... She's on AEW Unrestricted this week. I'm going to have to listen to find out where the hell this idea came from. Because when she first debuted in AEW, she wasn't doing this weird stuff. She was just like a normal wrestler. And I'm like, okay. I'd rather her be a normal wrestler with no character than this weird-ass alien thing. Like, is E.T. her brother? Is that where we're going with this?
I don't know, because she's from the Andromeda Galaxy. I don't know exactly where that falls on the map, because I'm not really a space guy, but...
I'll ask Jimmy Neutron and we'll find out.
Okay.
Yes.
Shout out Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents, greatest collab of all time. Don't at me.
That is the greatest collab of all time. I'll at you because, you know, we're buds. But what do you think of this tag match, dude?
It was a tag match. Nobody got hurt. That's all we can ask for. Not the biggest fan of the champion losing, but when you have like 6 women all like bunched together and you really have any new contenders, I guess this is what you have to do. Just have everyone wrestle each other. And now Penelope Ford seemingly is the number 1 contender, and Sheeta's probably going to beat her, and then Chris Statlander will turn heel, and then she'll beat Sheeta, and then Sheeta will face off against Statlander, and then Rose will face Sheeta and beat her, and yeah.
All that stuff. Alright, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends defeat the Inner Circle consisting of Jake Hager, or the boys last night called him Hager Hogan. Have you heard anything that Hager's done that could validate that response?
I have not, but I do not follow Jake Hager on any social media, so...
Wow! He gave us a drop for this show. How dare you?
And I'm also the same person that you said, oh, I'm going to meet Jake Hager, and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
I had a talk with him, very pleasant gentleman, you know, and I told him, hey, dude, I enjoyed you as the World Heavyweight Champion. F what everybody else is talking about. I like the run.
But at least he did do meet and greets on, like, Rey Mysterio.
Oh, that's true. Man, Ray, for a little guy, he was big league and hard. Anyway, and Santana and Ortiz, proud and powerful. I'll go listen to the latest Talk is Jericho. The whole Inner Circle is on there, and it's great. Anyway, after all of this, because Jericho was on commentary with Excalibur, Jim Ross, and Tony Schiavone, they beat Orange Cassidy with the bags of oranges. And he blades, because Cody didn't blade this week, so they had Orange Cassidy do it. And, you know, he gets hit with the bat, and, like, they're squeezing the oranges and pouring them on him. And then, I think Jericho's line was, Blood Orange Cassidy just got juiced, or something like that. I liked it, I'm not gonna lie. I liked it.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you look at it on paper, Chris Jericho beats down Orange Cassidy with a bunch of oranges. You would like, oh, it was a funny ha-ha skit. But I think they carried themselves very well, and it was a serious angle. I mean, when you put like 20 pounds of oranges, I've never really swung 20 pounds of oranges before, but I would assume that would do some damage to somebody if you hit him with it.
It does. I've tested this out.
I'm gonna have to go to my local Lucky's and just fill up a bag and just start swinging it like Chainsaw Charlie. See what happens.
I went to the store last night and I said, "Mom, hold still." I'm joking, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joking. I would never do that. I did it to my tenant downstairs. Anyway, yeah, I thought this was interesting. If this was in WWE, it could have been made kind of corny. I mean, but Jericho's done stuff like this before. Like, he did the CM Punk, whatchamacallit, where he's breaking beer bottles over his head and pouring beer on him. So, if Jericho does it, it works.
He attacked Dean Ambrose with a potted plant.
Yes.
R.I.P. Mitch.
R.I.P. Mitch. It's been, 4 years? We still can't believe it.
Never forget.
Never forget. All right, MJF basically comes out there and says, "Hey, I've been undefeated for 3 weeks. I've been ranked for like 9. I'm a big effing deal." Shout out Carl Fredericks. And he's like, "What's going on here?" And then Billy, don't call him Gunn, because I guess he's not allowed to have that name anymore, even though he had it last year. Gets in his face, and Wardlow's like, "Don't make a mistake," and stuff like that. So I guess we're getting Billy, don't call him Gunn, with his son Austin Gunn of the Gun Club versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman next week on Dynamite.
Billy Gunn gets the Cody treatment where he has his son in his corner so they can say Billy and Austin Gunn. But he's actually saying Billy Gunn.
But the thing is, like, Cody, he has it back now. He has the Rhodes name back. He just doesn't use it. I don't know what's going on with Billy.
Because he's above the Rhodes name. Well,
Wow.
I would assume that Billy, they were just using it because well, not because they could, but just because they were just saying it to try to get away with it, and then WWE was like, no.
Should have put
bring it back.
Should have put a Ryback, dude, and just made that your legal name.
I would assume they have like Gun with just one end too, so you could do that, or maybe just keep adding ends. Just have Gun with like 4 ends at the end.
Billy Gunn. Yeah, that's how you do that. Shout out Justin Roberts.
That's how you get around the trademarks.
That's how you do it, dude. All right, Sammy Guevara defeats Boom Boom Colt Cabana. I kind of buried Colt Cabana last night. I feel a little bad. I do.
Colt Cabana, great guy. One of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Absolutely. He gave me a lighter once. Shout out Colt Cabana. I taped it on my wall. I got to figure out what I did with it. Jesus. So shout out Sammy Guevara. Probably some of the best entrance music in AEW, could we say?
Best Friends has the best entrance theme.
I mean, could we say that his is one of the best, though?
To be honest, I don't really listen to his theme song.
It's like a rap one. It's like, "It's my moment to shine," something. Anyway, Sammy picks up a win over Colt Cabana, and then, the Dark Order, all of the Dark Order, Evil Uno, Dick Grayson, or Steve Grayson, whatever the hell his name is.
Stu Grayson.
Dick Grayson, I'm sorry, Batman fan over here. All the minions come out, including 10, who is Preston Vance, and the Exalted One.
Mr. Half Repper.
Yes. Oh, Jesus. The Exalted One, Mr. Brody Lee, still rocking the suit like he's Vince McMahon. And he, join us. He helps him up and stuff. And then we see, I think it's Dasha. Shout out Dasha. Trying to interview him, and he just walks into the room with the Dark Order. And then, I'm not going to lie, this is funny. Sammy's talking on the mic, and then Matt Hardy comes out. He's Team Extreme Matt. And I guess if you say a certain thing, you could trigger the different versions of him. He doesn't need to go into the lake of reincarnation. So Sammy was like, "As a matter of fact," and then the matter of facts come up, and I'm like, "Okay, we're version 1 Matt now." And then he says, "I don't know if you're dumb, stupid, or broken," and he's like, "Oh," and Damascus has woken up. It's stupid funny, but it's funny, guys. It is.
Yeah, I enjoyed everything involved Sammy and Cabana. It was a good match, and then I liked the kind of aftermath with Colt going into the Dark Order's locker room, maybe teasing that he's going to join them. I don't know what this means, because I've never really seen Colt Cabana be serious before, so if he tries to go down that route, that could be an interesting little storyline going there. And then Sammy Guevara and Jeff Hardy could be it is a fun little feud. I don't know where you go. Sammy's kind of the job guy for Inner Circle at the moment, so he might lose, but Hardy's also been kind of protected pretty strong up until this point. Don't know what his end game is. Maybe he's going to lose to Sammy in the end, which I think could really boost Sammy and maybe get up to that TNT level and have a match with Cody. Maybe he wins it. I don't know, but both sides of this feud were match with Sammy Cabana. I liked what they did afterwards.
Do you know the one time Colt Cabana was serious?
When he was sued by WWE and then sued by CM Punk?
Yeah, and Punk left him with all his illegal fees. All right, Joey Janella, as my boy Enzo would say, Joey Janella. I guess you're just an alcoholic if you're in AEW. Like, are they promoting alcoholism? Like, are we really doing this? Anyway, he's down on his luck. He was in the main event with Moxley once, and then he hasn't done much since. And then all of a sudden, he's walking across the street, and he gets picked up by somebody who Brandon believes should be in the AEW Women's Division, Sonny Kiss.
Okay, whoa. I would like to go back to the direction of corrections. Don't even know if that's a thing, but I have heard that Sonny Kiss is acceptable pronouns are he, her, she, him. You can call whichever or. So I kind of was correct, even though I did mess up.
Wait, what did you present it as? The correction of what did you just say?
The direction of corrections.
There we go. That's a legal term on the Bulletcast now. I'll copyright it after this is over. Yeah, man. So what do you think happened in that car after?
They talked shop, and now Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. I'm sorry. I'm on a roll right now. I think, make them a tag team, kind of an odd couple tag team. Who knows exactly what they can do? Maybe they have some wacky, kooky vignettes. Sonny Kiss is someone who I haven't been too impressed with what I've seen in a few of his matches. I think maybe he's a little bit too, funny, or too kind of over the top in his shtick. So maybe they kind of dial it back a little bit. Maybe he can, be a serious wrestler. They go in the tag team division. Obviously, I don't think they're going to really obtain any serious, championships and hold the titles for 10 months. But it's interesting. Maybe, they kind of find each other and then they kind of help each other out in their singles careers.
They beat Omega. They beat Omega and Page on the outside. After about 20 minutes of going at it, Janella and Hangman are having some whiskey on the outside, and then boom, Sonny Kiss hits Kenny with whatever the hell his finisher is, and 1, 2, 3, Janella Kiss tag champs. You heard it here first. No?
There you go.
John Moxley cuts a promo on the outside of the parking lot. It was decent. I liked it. It was good-ish. And then Taz walks up. I'm sick of you running your mouth. The glasses are off, so he's serious. He's dead serious. He dead ass. And then all of a sudden, not Moxley, what the hell is his name? Brian Cage comes out of nowhere, and they start brawling. The brawl was a little eh. And he slammed him on the car window, so it kind of made up for it. But what'd you think?
I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. I really like the promo that John Moxley cut. I mean, maybe after his promo at Double or Nothing and after his promo of winning the championship, I think this is probably, I'm going to say it, this was the best promo ever on AEW Dynamite. Hot take, I said it.
I don't know, man. I think the Cody one from November, when he was going into his match with Jericho,
I just like the serious intensity of John Moxley and how this was finally what I wanted from John Moxley. This is peak John Moxley, what I think he can be. And that's why I liked it so much.
No, hey, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion.
Even though it's wrong?
I never said it was wrong. You putting Taker Sean at 9, now that's just flat out wrong.
It was my favorite matches, and it was not a match I saw live, so that's why it was so low.
My heart is beating so fast just because I even said that. Jesus, oh my God, where's my life alert? Oh God, all right, all right, here we go. Marcus Quinn of Private Party. They got new music, by the way.
Mark Quinn,
I'm sorry. It's no, Mark is apparently as bad as the N-word according to Dave Meltzer, so we have to say Marcus. Yeah. Anyway,
that's not his name.
I'm sorry, I'm changing it. I can do whatever I want. It's my show. I can do whatever the hell I want. Anyway, the Private Party get new entrance music. It's slightly better than whatever the hell they were coming out to. No Velvet Ropes. I was a little sad. They didn't come out with the red cups because we can't have two other black guys in a tag team coming out with the red cups. That's just copying the Street Profits, so we can't do that. Anyway, the point being, he goes up against Cody Rhodes as Cody defends the TNT Championship. It is the championship of America's Greatest Network. Cody comes out on top. There's a brawl. And at the end of the brawl, Cody's like, hey, I know what you want. You want a title shot at Fighter? You got it. There we go.
Don't know why Cody just jumped all the way to Fighter, even though that's a month away, so he would have to defend the title like 2-3 more times until that point, but it is what it is. The match itself, I thought it was good. It was a little bit different than the Jungle Boy match. Cody, not decisively beating Mark Quinn, but kind of, establishing that he's still a level higher than him, and Quinn getting a little bit of offense in the end. I thought it helped out Mark Quinn. Maybe it's going to help Private Party in the long run. The match itself was good. Probably would say the Jungle Boy match was a little bit better, but it was just kind of a different match in terms of what they were trying to tell the story of.
This match was better.
And that's your opinion.
No, it's the fact, because, Jungle Boy promised me an interview and I never got it. So we're done with AEW Dynamite there. Before we leave, we have to preview Backlash, because the greatest wrestling match ever is going to happen on this show. But before we can get to that, let's talk about the other matches. Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. I got Jeff Hardy.
I will go with Sheamus. No real reasoning behind this, but maybe just so they can stretch out the feud even longer.
All right.
Maybe Sheamus, you built him up to face Braun Strowman.
There you go. The United States Champion.
Apparently he's still the champion.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. The United States Championship, Apollo Crews. He's going up against Andrade. I got Crews Control retaining the damn thing.
I also have Crews. Hopefully they give him a decent amount of time. I don't think it's going to be anything spectacular. It's obviously not going to be the greatest wrestling match of all time. But I think if you give him enough time, especially with it being a pay-per-view, so no commercial breaks in the middle, this could be really good.
Absolutely. Give him about 15, 20. Be nice. All right, the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka goes up against my girl, Nia Jax. Shout out, Nia. Shout out. But we know what's happening here. Asuka's retaining.
Asuka definitely is going to retain. I would assume they're going to move on to a Charlotte Flair feud, but I was going to bring up the fact is, where the hell is Bianca Belair? I mean, she shows up for like a week or two, and then she's just gone, not even with the Street Profits at all. I would love to see Asuka take on Bianca Belair for that title.
Ooh, I said that last night on the show. I'm like, where the hell has she been? Can we just put her back in NXT, please? Can we just do that? Io versus Belair for the title? Come on.
And I think I said this on Under the Radar. Where the hell is Shayna Baszler? She cuts a fire promo on an embryo, and then she's gone.
Seth gave her that face backstage, and she ran. No? Okay. So, you're picking Asuka?
I am picking Asuka.
All right.
Hopefully Nia Jax doesn't kill her.
Who? Hey. Don't blame Nia. Don't blame baby girl on that. Come on now. Don't do
Asuka's YouTube better than Nia Jax's TikTok.
How dare you? Nia Jax is probably one of the greatest TikToks of all time. It's not the greatest because, Lana might have a beat. I'm sorry. But you know. The Universal Championship, the Monster Among Men, LeBron Strowman, is defending against John Morrison and The Miz. Okay. Strowman.
Last time they did this, when Strowman was the IC champ, he actually did lose. I don't think this will be the case this time. I think he will win. You get Miz and Morrison. Yes, they are kind of a joke tag team. They still are one of the top tag teams in the division. I don't know why they booked this, but it's here, and so I'm going to go with Strowman.
All right. The Women's Tag Team Championships, DeBailey and Blueface Banks go up against Twisted Bliss, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, and
it's Bliss Cross Applesauce.
No, it is not. It is Twisted Bliss, because Alexa's last name is Bliss, and Nikki Cross is a little twisted and crazy. It's just that simple.
But it's Bliss Cross Applesauce because Alexa Bliss, that's her last name. Cross, that's her last name. And then Applesauce because it rhymes and it's tasty.
Oh, I thought Alexa Bliss was a fan of applesauce. I thought that's why you're going there.
maybe they're both fans of applesauce.
All right, so let me rephrase this whole thing. The Women's Tag Team Championships of the WWE, the Bayley, the SmackDown Live Women's Champion, and Blueface Banks defend their tag titles against Bliss, Cross, Applesauce, and the Iconics. I got Banks and the Bayley going all the way and retaining those championships.
I'm debating if it's between Bayley and Banks or the Iconics. I feel as though if it was going to be the Iconics, they would have never put the titles on Bayley and Banks to begin with. So since they just won it, I don't think you want to, bounce them back and forth. I know Sasha Banks does have the history of not holding on the titles very long, just like myself. But I will go with Bayley and Sasha on this one, setting up what should be a really good match if given the time, with them taking on Shotzi and Tegan Nox.
So is she two belt Becky? Is that or two belt Bayley? Is that what
She's
she is?
Dos Belts Becky.
Becky.
That was what it's been. Bayley. Becky, Bayley, Banks.
I need another title.
Baby.
I want a two title name. Yo, let me Brian Zane, let me beat Levi for the Wrestling with Regret title. I got the Bullet Cast title. I'll be the two title Titan. You feel me? There we go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is the championship of record. Drew McIntyre defends the WWE Championship against the almighty Bobby Lashley. He has adopted the full Nelson, a.k.a. the Master Lock, into his arsenal now. He was the first person to break out of it back in the day, so he can adopt it. It's okay. All in all, does Drew retain, keep going, or do they pull the trigger finally with Bobby Lashley? And does he become the WWE Champion?
I'm going to stick with Drew. I think he's going to win. Not like convincingly. I think it could be a decent match. I think maybe give him 12 minutes. Don't try to overstay your welcome. I don't think Bobby could, not go that long in terms of like wind or anything, but I just don't know if he can really hold a match and hold my attention for that long. So I'm going to go with Drew to get the win here. Maybe a little bit of some chicanery to prolong the feud, because I was thinking maybe they go in a different direction with Jinder, but Jinder's hurt. Don't know another heel that could really go up against Drew at the time. Maybe you have Lashley again the month after, and then you can have a bigger name. Maybe Brock Lesnar comes back at SummerSlam.
I think they pull the trigger. I think they do it.
Say it.
Bobby Lashley is my pick. We need 8 black champions at WWE. Feel me? All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. The Rated R Superstar, the WWE Hall of Famer Edge versus the Apex Predator, the Viper, the Born Again Legend Killer, Randall Keith Orton. I'm going Randy.
I think Randy is one of those people that could go on and face Drew later on down the line. Now, with this whole greatest wrestling match ever moniker, I've kind of said, they're doing this just to like put heat on Randy, because then he's going to end up cheating or do some underhanded tactics. Now, does that lead to a disqualification? Does that lead to Randy Orton winning? I don't exactly know. Edge even said in an interview on ESPN, I think, that he doesn't even really understand why they're doing this. And I don't know if that was him playing kayfabe and they haven't taped him the match yet, or the match was taped. It was a straight up match and he doesn't know why they even said that. But I will go. I don't even know what the main event of this show is going to be. I mean, it's supposed to be the greatest wrestling match.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I would think maybe this is the end, even though I don't understand why. Is the title on the line, Philip? Let me know.
No, it's not.
Wow. I thought every WWE pay-per-view the title's on the line.
No, it's not.
Because right now we're going 1-1.
Whoever said that?
Well, if I was champion, which I never am, I would be a champion.
You want to use that briefcase on this?
No, I'd rather use it on like a New Japan show that you don't even know what's going on.
Wow.
So I might use it for Dominion, so I'm just saying.
Okay.
Pay attention.
Okay. Go for it, man.
So if it doesn't matter, then I'll just go with Edge, just for bragging rights, to say that I won, and I should be the rightful owner, and I can complain when we do the recap.
Absolutely. Superstar Spotlight. Of course, it's going to be Edge and Orton because they're going to produce the greatest wrestling match ever. Brandon, who's your Superstar Spotlight?
Well, I put over the promo so well, I might as well make Jon Moxley my superstar spotlight because, I said it was the greatest AEW Dynamite promo of all time.
Absolutely. All right, promo pick of the week. Ric Flair's retirement speech, Monday Night Raw, March 31st, 2008. He comes out, he talks about his career. He said, "I've had one of the greatest careers in the history of pro wrestling. Thank you, I love you." He waves to the people, and then the Game, Triple H, comes out there. He says, "Rick, if you think you're done, you're not done yet." And then you got Harley comes out there, all the horsemen, the real horsemen that matter. Flair, Arn, Tully, and Wyndham, and Dylan. Those guys. Actually, I don't even think Tully was there, but the Wyndham was there. Those are the horsemen I care about. You got Jericho, you got Cena coming out there, you got Batista, you got Shawn coming out there, and saying thank you, I hope I honored you, and all this other stuff. And if you notice, Batista's kind of mugging Shawn, setting up the match that they would have like a month later. And then the whole roster basically just comes out and congratulates Rick. And then, of course, the behind the scenes after Raw goes off the air, you have The Undertaker coming out there, breaking character, giving him a big hug. And then you got Vince coming out there, raising up his arm, doing all this, and they're all bowing down to Nate. Takes off his jacket and elbow drops it. It was great, man. Loved it.
Fantastic speech by Ric Flair, as you would expect. Very heartfelt, very emotional. And then pair this with the WWE 24 documentary that I definitely did see, which you guys should all go see. Fantastic stuff by Ric Flair.
What you should all go see is my boy Enzo's on Instagram Live right now. You feels me? Yeah, man. This is when Rick really started crying. So this is when Ric Flair and Richard Fleer became one.
Side note, going back to Enzo, I got a random story commercial on the Instagram the other day of Enzo pushing some beard products, I think. I didn't really look at it because I just skipped right past it.
Get your beard game up. Check him out. My homie JTG, check out his beard oils. Doing good work, man. All right, Brandon, it's our closed match pick of the week. What is it?
Well, with NXT In Your House taking place this past weekend, I decided why not go with an In Your House match. It might not be the best one of all time, but definitely up there. We have from In Your House Final Four. We got Bret Hart, Steve Austin, Undertaker, Vader. Winner gets the WWF Championship. This, of course, was tied back to the Royal Rumble match and everything in between. This is an elimination fatal four-way match, but you can also get eliminated by going over the top rope, which, if you would think, is a way for a lot of these guys to lose but not take a pin, which is kind of what happened. Good stuff. Crowd is really, it's kind of interesting to see early 97 Stone Cold still a heel. I mean, I think this is in Tennessee, so it's not the hottest place for crowd reaction, but Stone Cold not getting that very much of a pop at all when his music hits, and then Undertaker, Bret Hart being the two big baby faces. The crowd really was into Undertaker. Vader, nasty cut on his eye, just bleeding. His entire face and thing blended with his mask was red. Really nasty stuff. So if you haven't seen it, go and check this match out.
Was that the same eye that it popped out of socket when he wrestled Hansen in the early 90s in Japan?
It might have been, because it was the left eye.
No, all right. Yeah, this was the 13th installment of In Your House. I've seen this match before in its entirety from February 16th of 97. Yeah, I believe this is where WWE got the idea for the Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view in 2010, where every match is a effing Fatal 4-Way. It was cool, like Brandon said, this gives a chance for guys to not get pinned or submitted, and Bret Hart retained the WWF Championship. Yeah.
And then the next night on Raw, he had the opportunity to have a stellar match with Sid, but then the week after, then The Undertaker is the champion. So a lot of hot shotting right here in this area of 97. I haven't really gone back and watched it, but I know what happens at WrestleMania 13, and then I see what happens at Royal Rumble, and everything happens in between. It's all convoluted and confusing.
That's just how WWE has basically always been. All right, follow us on Twitter at Bulletcast, Instagram The Bulletcast, YouTube channel The Bulletcast, email us bulletcast2 is in the number 2 sweetsweet@gmail.com. Every Thursday from now on, so that's tonight. If you're listening to this on Thursday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., 99.9 FM KW in Watsonville, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Spotify, and Patreon. We're all over the damn place, baby. All right, Sunday, Brandon and I will come back together for, guess what? The recap of Backlash 2020, which will have the greatest wrestling match of all time on it, ladies and gentlemen. Stay clean, stay safe, stay strong, stay quarantined.
Red alert, this is gonna hurt. When your face is in the dirt, you'll know your death is what I seek.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.